So apologies for last week. I didn't get a video done. I pretty much wasn't home for the whole week. So I just didn't have any time to work on my Huswif. But now I've got quite a long video. I decided to just do this one for today, and it's quite long. So what I'm showing you here is my pocket. I'm going to slow stitch down these pieces onto I'm actually put a piece of felt in between just to give it some puffiness, and I'm just going to cantha stitch them. Then that little piece of blue and white quilt is just an old piece of quilt I've cut up. My plan is to make that into a pin cushion, and then what I've got here is, sorry, Alfie's playing. What I've got here is where I'm going to have like a little needle book, and then finally I've got this little piece cut out of the same quilt, which I'm going to put next to the needle book, and that will contain my scissors. So at the moment I'm just playing around with the layout, playing with different colours. I'm going with mostly a red, white and blue theme on the inside, and showing you what I'm thinking. So this is what it will look like when I fold it up, and I'm going to curve off those edges, and then I'm just trying to find my string that's made out of fabric, and I'm going to attach a string, and I'm thinking it'll just wrap around it to keep it closed. So I'll link a video down the bottom showing you how to make that string. I've got a couple of different colours, and that one I just showed you is a little bit pale, more of Easter kind of colours, and then I've got this one here that I'm about to show you, which I think will go better with the vintage pieces of quilt. So I'll work out how I want to attach that, and it will just wrap around as a closure. All right, so I went ahead and I cantha stitched that pocket. You can see that there's running stitches there on that fabric on the left hand side. So all the bits and pieces are just cantha stitch with that crocheted cotton. It's an old one, just a simple running stitch. And I put a nice fabric, just a straight fabric on the inside, because when you open up the pocket, you can see that fabric. I've also got that little hexie that I cut out of an old quilt, which I'm going to attach to it as well. And to attach that, I just do an overcast stitch around the outside. Alfie's very noisy. Alfie puppy. He's got lots of energy tonight. So I'm trying to work out what I want to do across the top of the pocket. I'm thinking of folding over a fabric and stitching it down just to neaten up that edge, that top edge. But I do actually really like this little piece of red scrap that is from the quilt that I put under the base. And it's kind of an uneven piece, but I feel like I might be able to get that over the edge and just cantha stitch it down with some small stitches. So I'm just clipping it in place with those quilted clips. I love those clips. I use them for lots of things. And that will just hold it where I want it to be, and allow me time to, not time, but allow it to stay in place while I get stitching with the cantha stitch, the running stitch. So lots of tiny stitches going in, and I'm checking kind of front and back just to make sure I'm getting the fabric on both sides and it's been held in place. So I'm going to cut forward to where I've finished this stitching, because you don't need to watch me doing it all. Fast forwarding, and I've done several lines of that running stitch. So now the pocket's done. And I'm showing you that I'm going to fill up my pin cushion with some crushed walnut. And I'm also going to use some lavender. I've got some lavender because I thought it would make a really nice smell. So I mix them together in a bowl. And then what I've done with my little piece of quilt, I've stitched on a thin piece of fabric on the back. And I just did an overcast stitch the whole way around it. And I left a little gap open of about 1 inch. And then I have not completely filled up that pocket. I've filled it up so that you can get a nice thin layer of the walnut shell and the lavender to stick your pins into, but not so full that it's completely puffing up the whole needle roll. I didn't want it to be too bulky. So it's just a thin layer. I guess if you look at like in centimetres, probably less than a centimetre, maybe half a centimetre, if I was to spread it all out in thickness. So what I do now is I stitched up the whole close where I filled it. Just a very messy overcast stitch around the outside. And now what I'm doing is I'm stitching it down to the base of the needle roll. Again, using that overcast stitch. So just pulling it over, coming from under to up, and then pulling it tight. I will be covering this with some fabric around the edge, kind of like a binding, so you won't really see this messy end. But I'm sewing the end first, and then I go down the side and then along the end. And what I do is I've shifted all the lavender and the walnut shell away from where I'm stitching, so it's all sitting down the bottom part so it doesn't get in my way. And then when I stitch the other side, I'll do the opposite. I'll tip it up so all the lavender and the walnut shell goes to the other end so it's out of the way while you're stitching. So when I'm stitching down the side, I'm still doing an overcast stitch, but I'm just running it in between the back and the front of the sewing roll, so you're not going to see the stitches on the other side. So on this side that's facing up, you can see the stitches there, but you won't see them on the other side because I don't go all the way through the fabric. I didn't want to do a lot of messy stitching. So I'm literally just sandwiching it in between. I mean, it's got some of the quilter's wadding in the middle, like the bamboo one. So it's quite easy to sort of slide it under, and I'm just doing it by touch. With my hand underneath, I can feel that I'm not going through to the other side. All right, now we're all stitched in place, both the pocket and my little pin cushion. I have to keep thinking of the words, I'm too tired. And now you can see it folds up, and it's a little bit more bulky now, so it's going to fold up quite nicely. I really love the pocket. It's turned out well. So my next thing is my little needle book. So at the moment, these bits of fabric and lace and French laundry labels are just pinned in place. I'm going to do a running stitch around the outside of that fabric, just holding it in place. I don't want to do the stitching all over it because most of the things that I've already got in this have stitching all over them. So just a simple running stitch. And I do quite a bit of running stitch on those extra bits of fabric and lace just there. And also all the way, I do like a running stitch all the way around the laundry label. And down the bottom, I've got a strip of, I think they call it seam tape. I buy it at the sewing basket. I've got lots of different widths and old ones and stuff like that. And I'm going to stitch a running stitch around that as well. And my idea is that I will stamp on that needles, because it's my needle book inside my Huswif. Okay, so here we go. The front of the needle book is all stitched down and ready to have the pages put in. All right, so I'm going to show you where I'm at. Again, I haven't been home. It's about 10 p.m. and I've just got home for the first time today. I've been down to our outdoor ed campus, 2.5 hours south of Sydney today all day, and just got back. But I did work on this last night, so you will see you've seen the filming of that already in this video. So I've done the pocket. I've got the pin cushion with the lavender and the walnut shells, which is going to work like that when I've got it open. Okay, this is going to be my needle book. So I'm going to stamp in red needles on there. It opens in the reverse way. I don't know why I did it like that, but it's like that. Okay, and then this is in the style of Beck from So Be. So be curated. I've got a couple of her kits, her little needlebook kit, so I've used some bits and pieces, including the Suspargo felt, some cut up doily, and then on the inside another piece of cut up kind of doily embroidery linen. So what I'm going to do with that, and I'm going to come back and show you this tomorrow because I'm not going to do any more stitching tonight. It's too late and I've been out all day. I'm going to stitch down there just to hold it in place, and then I'll just be stitching down the back cover. So this will all be floppy. So that will be there. And then I've just got to stitch this final, my little scissor pocket. So that will go there. And then the last thing, and I was talking to Rach about this the other day, was I will be cutting the corners rounded, and then I might find a vintage embroidery that I like of a flower or a bird or something, and I'll stitch that down there. And then all I've got to do tomorrow night is to do all that stitching and then put a binding on. So I'm not going to do proper binding, but I'm thinking of doing things like, say for example, if I can I tear that? Yes. Getting scraps of fabric that are big enough and folding them over and just doing some rough running stitch. So even like this scrap would be good. It's a bit of a thin fabric, that one, but I'll be doing scraps of fabric around the edge. So on the front, and I've got to put my tie on as well, which I've showed you already. And I will link. I didn't get this one from K3N. I'm going to link her. I'm just having a mental blank. But I know she's done a tutorial on how to make this. I didn't get it from her because I actually made this probably a couple of years ago. Just found a tutorial on YouTube. But I'll link hers because she's lovely and she does lovely tutorials. And she teaches the same thing. So I'll link her tutorial in case you want to make it. I showed you they had like an Easter coloured string, and then I think this one will go better with the colours I've used. So if I was to flip it on the other side, I'm going to just use random scraps. So I might have some of this pink, and then I have some of the blue stripe. And all I'll do with this, and I'll show you tomorrow, because I think if I've got time tomorrow night, I'm thinking I might try and finish this one, actually finish a project for once. I will get my, what are they called, Wonder Clips or whatever they are, the ones you use in quilting, and literally just grab scraps of fabric, depending on what I like where, and I'll just clip it in place, and I'll simply do just running stitches, clip it in place. So I'm just giving you an idea of how I'd finish it. Okay, so keep clipping just to hold it in place as you do your running stitch. So it might be, say for example, the pink one first. I've got my pin cushion there, so I'd probably just drop all the lavender and the crushed walnut down to the bottom, so it's easy for me to sew that part. And then I get another scrap and just overlap it. So it's not going to be like binding where you do this properly and you make your bias binding and stuff like that. It's just going to be random scraps that go well with what I've done. So here's another random scrap. Oh, that's a nice fabric. So that one might be a bit wide. I might narrow that down. For example, that is a nice fabric. I like that one. Actually, I think that is in the Roxy Fabric Prize Pack, some of that. I'd make that one a bit thinner. I don't want it overlapping too much on my other bits and pieces. Okay, so you get the idea. It's going to be scrappy. My whole housewife, needle roll, I guess, is all scrappy anyway. So that's how it will end up looking. So tomorrow I will give you the part that you were missing. So you missed a part last week. That can be today's video. And then this week's video I can do tomorrow if I have time. We'll see. There's a bit to do tomorrow. So coming up to Easter. All right. So I hope that this helps you. I know a lot of you have already pretty much done yours. If you don't like the messiness there, one thing you could do is, I'm just seeing if I've got some. It's the wrong colour. I probably wouldn't use this one. But would be, you could even put some rickrack over it. Stitch it down just to neaten up. Actually, I don't mind that if I found a better colour. Sorry, excuse me. I'm very hot. I'm very sweaty. Long day at work. And I'm sweaty because I've had hockey training and it's humid. You don't need to know that. I need a shower. I haven't had it yet. I'm about to have one. So, yeah, that's it for tonight. And I will see you hopefully tomorrow night with my final part for this month, because next week is a new prompt and my videos will be, can't remember first or second. I'll ask Rachel. I can't even think. I need to go have a shower and go to bed. All right. So thank you for watching and I'll see you again soon. Bye. And after all that, my video is not so long because I cut a lot of it out. You didn't need to see me do all the stitching. So I hope you enjoyed tonight's video and I'll see you again tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Bye.